Because the first step is finding out what is the local rate, and just staying out of the tourism won't tell you what the local rate is. You won't ever know. Meaning just showing up where everybody's going now, branching out. Yeah, yesterday the ocean was super blue and it had a bunch of weather on it and couldn't swim in it. Wow, you just can't sit here and ignore that. Wow, that is so cool. And today it's not as blue, so that's a clue. We'll take a look out of our balcony and look at the color of the ocean and know in advance whether we're gonna be able to go swimming or not, huh? We'll let you know how that works out. So I wanted to add to my interactions with gringos through the years. I'll give you a little short story if you'll allow me. And all these stories, when I talk about people, they're all done affectionately and with love. So I'm going to tell you a little tip because I like to help you out and give you little tips. I have very deep and meaningful strategies and techniques. I teach them in classes. So let me know if you're interested in something like that. But some people that I worked with, we showed them just some of our strategies, and they found a lower priced beachfront rental outside of the main circuit. It was priced at $350, and I give you this story as an example of what everything I've been talking about, that it is real. It actually plays out the way we talk about in our videos. And the rental was beachfront with beautiful views, and it was advertised at $350 to the locals. But when the gringos showed up, when it was became known that it was gringos, they upped the price of the rental to $500. Now the gringos moaned and groaned about it, and they weren't happy about it. But guess what they did? Tell me in the comments what you think they did. Here's a little tip for you, because the first step is finding out what is the local rate, and just staying out of the tourism won't tell you what the local rate is. You won't ever know. Meaning just showing up where everybody's going now, branching out and all that won't work for very long. You'll get lucky, you know, you'll be the first one there maybe, and all it takes is one guy to change everything. But anyhow, the tip is that when a local treats you like that, when a local has something clearly advertised for one price, and then when you show up, they change the price. There's two things I want to tell you about this. The first thing is, this is material we've talked about in our books and publications. And if you don't have those, you wouldn't know it. So when a local does something like that to you, it gives you a tip of the iceberg view of what your relationship is going to be like going forward with this landlord, okay? Because what happened to these people is that, okay, I'll just tell you, they went ahead and took it anyway, grumbling, which is what the foreigners will do. They'll grumble, but they'll take it, okay? Which just sets the ball rolling in motion for all the rest of the vicious cycle. And that's why I'm saying that you need to come out of that, and you need to make a commitment to this thing, okay? If you really want to do it, making a commitment to it is the first step. So that sets the ball in motion for your relationship, and I saw it. The minute they told me that they had raised the price and they were grumbling, and then they took it anyway, I knew within my experience, my knowledge base, and everything that I know so far, that they were going to have problems with that landlord. And guess what? They had problems with the landlord. They had massive problems with the landlord. They weren't able to foresee it, and they had to go through it to learn that. I had already seen it, I had learned it, and I know it just from interacting with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these situations over the years, and helping people and just understanding how people do things. I had experience when I was in the States. I had an item for sale, and it was really interesting because a fellow answered my ad. He could write really good English, but when I got on the phone with him, he had an accent, and he was obviously a foreigner. Light bulb, right? So he's a foreigner, right? And they're going, oh, what did you do, Frank? It's not what I did, it's what he did. He was a foreigner, But as a foreigner and as someone that has an accent being in a foreign land, guess what he did? When he showed up to buy the item, he had a printout of the ad with him. He was already 2 steps ahead. Not that I was going to raise the price on him. And they might want to, you know, well, gee, this guy doesn't really know what the price is. Or so. I don't know why people think foreigners don't know anything, but this guy was 2 steps ahead, and he was going to show me that you're not going to pull anything on me. So he shows up, and the first thing he does before he says a word is he hands me the printout of the ad I had put in for the item. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I advertised it for. But I say this story to say that in Ecuador, I followed up on an ad, and I did the same thing. I printed out the ad, and it was advertised for a big house on some land for $350. And sure enough, when we showed up, you know, all of a sudden the price was, I don't remember, like $450 or $500. And of course I pulled out the ad and showed them the ad. And at that point, you know, you have to pull out the ad before they say anything, because once they say the price, they won't want to go back. But you know, we did sit there and chit chat with them and didn't act too interested, and I think they did come back down. But there were other reasons why I decided didn't want the property. This example is just exemplary of what you're up against, that if you don't have the commitment, you know, if you haven't set it up in your mind that I'm serious about doing things at a local pricing structure, and most people just aren't going to have that level of commitment to want to do that. But for those of you that do, if you want an environment of support and this kind of thing, check us out. Well, it still looks a little more agitated than usual, but yeah, I don't think anybody thinks off-seasons are a secret or anything, but I'm definitely an off-season kind of guy. Okay, so with that, thanks for listening, and have a nice day.
Ciao.